a live stream as well, which I think should show here, which is exciting. And we'll find out. I've never used this software to stream on LinkedIn before, but we'll find out what happens. Oh, it's working. It's only bloody working.
Nice.
How exciting is that? So I'm just gonna stream health poor. That's good. That's what we need. We like poor stream health. Never used this software. Turn that down there. Amazing. Sweet. And then I'm going to check out my Facebook and share it into the Facebook group. So this is exciting stuff. This is like one of those super casual podcasts where we start off the stream and we're like just having small talk, and people are like, what are they doing? They're so unprofessional. We're just confident. We're just super confident. We just know what we're doing. So I don't even know if it's going live on Facebook right now, but we'll figure it out. We'll see. We'll see. Christian, if you're watching, please share this into the Facebook group. If not, we'll get a recording of it. Okay, sweet. You ready to roll?
Ready.
Awesome. Oh, where did your video quality go? Did your video quality change on yours?
No.
You're all pixelated as F, but it does say actual recording is higher quality. So I guess we're good.
Oh.
Maybe it's just with the streaming. It's just because you went pixely there, but it does say that it's recording in high quality, so that's good. Easy. It's recording in 1080p, so we're good. Sarah, Carol, can you just say something? Check out your audio. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Hi there, Sarah. Amazing. Well, a little intro, and away we go. Welcome back to the Coaches to the Moon podcast, ladies and gentlemen. On a very rainy day here in Sydney, I am honoured and blessed and excited to be joined by Sarah Carroll. She's the CEO and founder of SmartUp Studios, giving project management training for businesses both big and small. She also happens to be my wife's cousin, and I'm good mates with her dad. So straight out of Summer Hill in Sydney, Sarah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How fun. Now, first podcast for you.
It is. It is indeed.
I don't know why you haven't been on more.
I'm a newbie, so be kind.
Well, you're so bloody lovely to talk to, Sarah. I think you'll be fine, and you should be on more. But you only started the business quite. No worries. You only started the business quite recently, though. So we're going to get right into it. But you've been working in this space for ages.
Yeah, that's right. So I started using ClickUp back in 2018, and ClickUp's a project management software that allows to plan, organize, and execute all of your projects. Centralized platform. So I started using it because I began my professional career working as an events manager, and I was working across multiple marketing initiatives and event profiles per month, which meant that I was with, per event that I was managing, I was working with over 10 vendors across each month. And it was just becoming really overwhelming having to manage all of my systems just off a notepad and a pen, essentially. Now with all of the different technologies that are available, I was also finding applications were just scattered all over. In communications, there's generally a lot of action take place. So I was just getting so overwhelmed and things were getting missed. Which was of course an accident, but it was so I needed to find a system in order to sort of bring so that I had a clear overview of everything that I was working on. So I started playing around with, there's different project management softwares out there. You may have heard of Asana or Monday.com or Trello. Mm-hmm. and ClickUp. So I started playing around with all four of them because I wanted to get an idea of was going to be the best option for me. And I just found that ClickUp was by far for me anyway, the easiest to use, and it had the most amount of features to offer.
Yeah, amazing. So yeah, jumping straight in there, that's really good stuff. So for context, what we've got you on here to talk about today is your business, SmartUp Studios, which is a little bit different to what we usually talk to people about. We usually talk to coaches and kind of how they're marketing their business, sales, what they're doing differently. But when I was talking to you about this project management thing, it feels like something that is pretty common in corporate spaces and kind of bigger teams, but a lot of small businesses like coaches, solopreneurs don't really use these things so much. Now, you're partnered with a software called ClickUp, which you just mentioned. We'll get a little further into it, but just to bring it back to the beginning, for people who don't know, what is a project management software and why is it helpful for people with a team?
Yeah, well, so it's project management softwares are cloud based, so that helps first of all because you're able to access all of your files and everything that you need for your projects, and it's not set to one specific computer. So it just allows for it allows for you to just action items just in one place, and with the amount of and the benefits that it offers, you're not then having to multiple different platforms where say one platform only offers one thing and then you have to find another software that then offers another thing that can integrate together, but it just all becomes a bit clunky. So softwares allow for you to sort of combine now what I mean by that is with management, it's mainly grouped into action items which need to take place. So that's in the planning and in the planning stage of how you're going to execute the project. Project communications. So then having one central platform where all of your communication in your project list, so that you can see, and then you're not having to dive back through your email threads and trying to find lost emails, or if emails have been strewn across multiple different threads, which is also another common problem. And then file storage as well. So then you might have certain documents that people have signed for certain different projects, whether that be proposals, tracks, invoices, and then you're storing those separate cloud-based storage. It's just none of it talks to each other. So that's how a project management system can help you.
Far out. So it's to-do lists, it's group chats about specific areas of the business. It is Google Drive, or everything all in one basically. Yep. So yeah, awesome. So all right, so that's project management software is just basically a hub for you and your team and freelance and stuff to make sure that everything gets done. Everyone knows what they need to do that day. Nothing gets missed, and it's all centralized. You can log into your account from anywhere in the world, and then you've got a place where you know your job for today. And I think I've seen, you start a task and then you move it down the line, that sort of thing, for when it's in different stages of doneness. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So statuses, you can work your task through different statuses depending on where it is in the pipeline, which is really helpful because then you can know, when I was working from a notepad and pen, write a task down, and then I would go back and look at it and I'd be like, oh, did I get a reply for that task? Or where is that now? Like what stage is that at? So it's really helpful for that. It's helpful for delegating tasks to certain team members, which is obviously quite helpful for if you're working with a team. And as a solopreneur, it's still really helpful to just have SOPs written down so that you're following a structure and you're not having to then go in every day and write out a to-do list because it's already there.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you always hear in like these cliche business gurus. They're like, I get up every morning and I write a to-do list of what I need to do that day. I write down my 5 biggest action steps. And every time I start doing it, like I do it for like 3 days, and then you just realize that other shit happens, and you just these post-it notes and stuff that I got all around my desk. it never seems to work as well, because if you have 5 action steps on day 1 and then you write down 5 more on day 2, but you didn't do 3 the day before, then suddenly you got 7, and then you're wondering like, what do I do next? And then it gets
Yeah.
overwhelming very, very freaking quickly. So breaking that stuff down sounds just like the most powerful thing in the world. Especially, I didn't even think of it being good for a solopreneur. So let's talk about that, because most of our audience, right, they're coaches, they're in the coaching space, which means a few things. One, they usually work by themselves or with a small team of sort of VAs, marketers, graphic designers, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. 2, they are the face of their business. They're wearing every hat there is to wear. So they're having to do the sales, they're having to do the marketing, they're having to make the content, build the programs, deliver the programs, put out fires, do everything. And then thirdly, they basically they wear a lot of their clients' problems on their own sleeves as well. So it's not like just stuff that happens within your business. It's like, say I'm coaching someone and they are going through a really shitty time and they have an emergency. Suddenly, that's an emergency that becomes my emergency, because I'm here to help them with that. So in terms of working as a solopreneur, let's break that down, because you're not here to sell ClickUp. By the way, Sarah's not here on a sales call. We're here because this is a super interesting concept of systemizing and making your business easier. And you just happen to try it a lot and you found this one that works the best. So let's start that from scratch. Say I'm a solopreneurial coach. I've got a few clients. I've got lots of stuff to do every day. And I'm thinking, okay, my notepad is no longer cutting it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go and get ClickUp, a project management software. What's the first thing I do?
So I would write down I always like to say is, I have your systems at a place where you want to be in the future, not where you are now. So you want to have a goal where you say you want to, maybe in a year's time, you want to have enough so that you can hire 1 staff. So with that, I like to a system and an SOP in a project management software. So you can easily, when a transition comes where you either say want to onboard more people, or let's just say you get an influx of new clients over the new year, and you've suddenly a couple of clients and it's been easy to manage, and then this influx of new clients, you want to be at a place to handle the new level of income and work coming in. And you don't want to be at a place where you're just sort of people here and there and it's sort of easy to manually manage. So with that, I would just say I'd write down your top 5 sort of systems that you use each sort of, each week. So let's just say, so for podcast production, all of the steps that you need to do in order to create and release a podcast. And write it out in a stepwise sort of manner. Allocate due dates for when you want each one, and just start using it as just start getting flow of it and see how it works compared to your sort of manual system that you have. Because project management systems, they can be quite overwhelming. A lot of people have said to me, like, project management software, but I sort of got into it and then it just using, and so I've still got an account, but I don't use it. So just start small with just like small to release a piece of content, or you might be working with a client and particular sort of service, and you just want to write down all of the steps that you need to do in order to complete that service, and just start using it gradually, and get used to it. it'll start to pick up, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
100%. That's really good. No, 100%. That's a really, really good breakdown of it because I'm exactly the person you just said. Like, oh yeah, I started the software and then I was like, fuck this. This is way too much stuff. I'm going back to my pen and paper and this is simple for me. However, what you said, like, when you've got 3 team members coming on in 6 months' time and suddenly you've got to just teach them everything again, how easy would it have been if you set that up in the past, right? So I suppose for most, go ahead.
I was also just going to say, and with that, it really helps with onboarding new staff members and also creating a really good customer journey for your because it shows that you're organized and that you've got it all sorted. Because with bringing on particularly bringing on, it's so hard to then have to go back to, because most of the time you're just doing it on autopilot because you know how to do it. So it really as well.
Yeah, no, that is totally true. So I've got 5 staff now, and if they're listening, I love you guys to bits. But when you're training a new staff member, sometimes it's easier to do things yourself. But then you're stuck in that forever, right? So you need to invest the time in training people in the things that they're not as good at yet, so they will be in the future, and then you can make these systems in place. Now, what I've started doing recently, which has been huge for me, is whenever one of my team needs to learn how to do a task, whether it's like, setting up something funky in ads or, some funnels thing or an automation, what I've been doing is basically just taking them through it and just making a screen recording of me doing it. And then that video's in the vault. That's it. So now we've got a video of how to do like every part of our job, basically. That is a systemized, duplicatable thing. And that's been a game changer for me because now if a client asks, how do I do this? Or a staff member, or like one of my amazing, team members is going on maternity leave in like a few weeks' time. So we're splitting up her job amongst the other the team members. And it's just like, here's a video of how to do that. Here's a video of how to do that. And it's so handy. And that's what you mean when you say SOPs, that's standard operating procedures, right?
Right. So a system is pretty much like, think of it as sort of your morning routine. You get up in the morning, you might have a system where you have a shower, you make breakfast, you make a coffee. So that's your system. Or SOP is how you then complete each task. Making a coffee. Okay, I've got to turn the kettle on. I've got to put coffee in the mug. I've got to put sugar in. I've got to do whatever. And I know that sounds like for a morning routine, no one needs to write that. It's just we just know how to do it. But for a workplace sort of situation where systems and SOPs come into play, and it's really...
It's like a recipe book. Like a cookbook, right?
Exactly.
With the ingredients and steps. Everyone's read a recipe online, and it's basically you're making recipes for how you would do every step of your business, every part of your job. And as a chef, when I used to be in the cooking space, it's much easier to just do a recipe by feel and just figure it out when you're going. But then when someone says, how do I make the muesli in this restaurant? It's like, oh, you just make this stuff until it's sweet and delicious. It's like, I don't know how to do that. So it takes a little longer to go through and weigh everything out and taste it and then write it down. But then anyone can do it. Anyone with a brain and fingers can recreate that exact recipe.
Exactly.
So standard operating procedure, cookbook for your business.
Exactly right.
Perfect. That's good. Recipes. Well, I'm very aware that when maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have known a bunch of the stuff you're talking about. Systems, SOPs, automations, action steps, which is basically a to-do list, things you've got to get done. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So I'm aware that I want to make sure we explain it for the newbies out there
who
have just, learned by doing and never worked for a team before. Because most of us haven't, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the time as well, we don't think about the names behind it. Like we know that there's a process and we know that we have to write down a whole bunch of things and, action them and to get things you don't actually think about. And particularly if you're not sitting down and doing it in a logical manner, become a bit like confusing because you're just sort of being like, oh, I probably should have done that first and I'll note that for next time. But where do I write that down so that I know to do the next time I do this? So it's just, yeah, it's just so helpful.
Treating your business. Yeah, it is. And I was fully resistant to this stuff. And I'm using myself as an example for a lot of this because I've gone from being a solopreneur coach, kind of just winging it for like 7 years, to now having a business and a team and all the stuff you're talking about, project management systems, Slack, email threads, all the stuff that was just it's so not sexy, this stuff. But when you see on Instagram, old mate in his jet, with his Mercedes or whatever, how do they travel all the time? It's like they can travel all the time because they've done all the quote boring stuff that makes their business run without them. And that's what this is, right? It's the coaching model of just having one-to-one phone calls with your clients and doing all your sales and content yourself. It's very, very simple. And I know people making great livings like that, like really good livings, but it's kind of, it stops when they stop.
Yeah.
So having these things that Sarah's talking about here is just hugely important if you have a dream of creating something more long term. So for yourself, you've been in teams, you've worked for other people since you kind of left uni. What's it like going out by yourself?
It's been really exciting. Moments of scariness just because you're taking a leap. I left my job due that needed to be taken care of. So that was sort of the first step anyway. But it's been so exciting. I mean, this is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. And when I thought, look, now's the time. Like, if not, and I mean, you have days where you're not really sure. You have moments of a bit of just where you're just not that clear on where to go, but you keep going and it's really exciting. It's fun. It's like every day is different. I get to work for myself and I get to go and take my dog for a walk whenever I want into anyone, and it's really good.
That's mad. That's funny. I had such a free lifestyle like a year ago, and now I have a team. I'm actually less free because I've got to keep things moving. But absolutely, everything we're building now is going to make that happen. So that was interesting when you were like, there's days when you don't really know what to do next and that sort of thing. Let's say people find themselves in that situation, right? Because they are a bit overwhelmed. Like maybe they don't have many paying clients taking up their attention just yet, or maybe they've got no inspiration that day. As someone in the thick of it right now, someone, in those first few months of a new business, heaps of experience in what you're teaching, but in the business sense, going out by yourself, on the days when you've got no inspiration, you've hit the wall, what's been working for you?
Consistency. So even I think, is this right? The right thing? You just keep going. Like you just keep content. Keep even if you're not sure if people are wanting to see this sort of content, keep doing it. Be consistent. I mean, another thing is picking a sort of, I've found sales at just one type of sales funnel helping me to just stay on the right path. So starting out with your lead magnet and working from there and getting people into a sales funnel, because I found that when I was offering a few different things and I was just still trying to get a feel for everything. I was just getting a bit like, oh, this person has this, and so just trying to refine.
Yeah. Shiny object syndrome, right?
Yeah, totally. Totally. A lot of that. But I mean, I know it's really annoying to say, but just keep going. Like, just keep.
It's not annoying. It's not annoying to say, because I get those days now.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure we both have days when it's like, "Oh, it'd be so much easier if I was still a barista.
Yeah.
All you had to worry about was the coffee in front of you, and then at the end of the day, it's like, see ya.
Yeah, yeah.
But and there's nothing wrong with being a barista. I love being a barista, but it's not the dream. And like, those days, just that's usually the difference between people who quote make it and don't. It's just they keep going on the days when they think they shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, let's go into the sales funnel thing, because I'm interested in that, because we do marketing, obviously, sales funnels, and you were like, you see other people have all these different offers and you want to do that and do that so it works. Why have you stopped doing that and now you're just focusing on one offer and one system?
Well, so my system is so a lead magnet of a free webinar, and the reason is because you can get in front of people and talk to them, and you can pull them in from the audience and you can ask them questions. Engage. Because I found when I was working a downloadable lead magnet, it just was downloading it, and I wasn't getting a personal experience with it. Taking the lead magnet, which was great, and I was getting their content, but then nothing else was happening from it. So I wanted to focus in on a personal experience with clients, because that's what I offer, a service. So I want to make sure that I'm being personal with them. I'm not offering people can just download a digital product, skip them out something. I want them to know who I am, and I want to build a connection with them, because you want to create long-term relationships with them. So that's sort of why I moved away sort of lead magnet. I think into the swing of building some more momentum, I'm sure that I will start to incorporate that back in as additional stuff. But for now, it's just been easiest for me to just sort of really refine the one sales funnel that I have, so that I know exactly how it works, how I can convert people.
100%. And it's a fun, it's a more manual process getting people to a live webinar and making them rock up and doing the follow-up to them showing up on the day and then delivering the webinar, and sometimes no one turns up to the webinar, although yours are doing great. And that absolutely, I think, is something that people need to be doing at the beginning of their kind of cold marketing journey, is getting in front of people, doing more follow-up, and not trying to automate everything. Like, not trying to just be out of that process so much, because until you know it works, until you know people want your offer, you've got to do some grunt work and get in front of people, like you just said. So the webinar, in my opinion, just for people watching, is a super, super cool lead magnet if you have two things. One is you have kind of a tangible outcome. So yours is you're teaching people to use a software that's going to dramatically increase their productivity.
Yeah.
And two, if you are able to do the follow-up and the work to get people onto it, because registrations for a webinar are one thing. Getting people to show up on the day is another thing.
Yeah.
Because it's risky, right? Not like it's like I don't want to spend 2 hours of my day with this random on a Saturday. But if they know that it's going to be super helpful and that you're a super awesome person and you follow up and you chat to them, then it's going to get them over the line. So it can be a bit scary at first, I'm sure, but super worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've found anyway. So that's sort of why I've moved over to that things. But yeah, it really is.
Well, let's talk about the ones that you're doing, because this ClickUp training is something that I definitely need to come along to the next one, because or maybe we can even do a private one. I can swing a VIP session.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can do it over some cold, questionable chicken at your uncle's house when he's having a barbecue. It'd be good. This chicken's been out for way too long on the table.
No.
Should we eat it?
Don't talk about that.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Or the boiled sausages is another crazy one.
Look, but say we're there, it could be a perfect excuse to leave the table. We've got a training to do, so maybe we need to be better with our planning. So, in terms of your trainings, like this is the whole basis of SmartUp Studios, your business at the moment, teaching people to use ClickUp better. So, for a newbie like me coming in, what are the things we're going to learn in one of your webinars?
Yeah, so the webinars are an hour long, and they teach you. So essentially, they're teaching you they're showing you features of ClickUp and how you can best use them to eliminate blowouts, which is a huge problem with project management, particularly when you've got a whole lot of different invoices and finances that are flying around in emails, in particular accounting softwares, and you just don't have a clear overview. They teach you how to reduce communication breakdowns by managing all of your communications in the ClickUp app. There in your project list. And it teaches you how to eliminate disorganized to-do lists. So we talk about the ClickUp and how you can organize a list in ClickUp that suits your project management needs, and then how you can delegate those tasks out to particular people, how you can set due dates and start dates, how you can set priorities for certain tasks, how you can link, you can set dependencies on, so that you know that you can't start that you have completed this task. So it just helps your project management process.
Amazing. Is it only for people who currently have an account and they're using it, or can I come in completely green and do your training?
No, you can come in completely green. Right, as well, because one of the main reasons why I chose ClickUp over the others is because their free version offers pretty much everything. Like it just has a really extensive range of features, even on their free version. So if you're starting out and you don't want to make the commitment to paying for a software because you're not that confident, or you're not sure if it's going to work for you, a free ClickUp account is all that you need. But you don't even need to have an account in order to come. I'll walk you through how ClickUp and the setup.
100%. For anyone listening now, we're going to hopefully run one of these trainings in our private Facebook group, Simple Ads and Stack Calendars for Coaches, because I think it's going to be super valuable for anyone in the position I was like 6 months ago, where I was like first team member coming along, getting busier, getting a bit stressed and falling behind. Nothing worse than falling behind, right? So that's awesome. We're definitely going to do one of them. There's one thing I wanted to ask you real quickly before we shoot off, was in terms of there's like 3 or 4 of these softwares out there, big names, right? You mentioned them at the beginning. There's like Asana, Monday.com, There's
Trello.
Salesforce. Is that one of them?
Yep, Salesforce
Trello,
is
no
one.
Trello. Yeah, so these are the ones I've heard of. I hadn't actually heard of ClickUp before you came along and started talking about it. Just transparently, like, why is that one that people should, you believe people should go towards ClickUp rather than the other ones?
Well, particularly for solopreneurs who don't want to make a huge investment financially into ClickUp is, like I said earlier, ClickUp's free version offers so many features. Most of the other softwares that I've tried are quite limited to what you can do on the free version, whereas ClickUp is quite generous with what they give. They've also ClickUp is like they're one of the later softwares that was released, so they've kind of taken all of the winning sort of aspects from other project management software and sort of combined it into one. So a great thing that I love about ClickUp one is that you can see everything at a higher level. So you can see that's going on in all of your different ClickUp spaces, which is just really handy because then you can sort of, instead of having to click through each list to see what you've got to do, you've just got higher oversight. They've also their range of so the way in which you can visualize your tasks, action items. They've got a whole bunch of different views. So you've got your classic list view, which is just like a regular. If you've used Trello in the past, you can use board views, which is sort of quite the Trello user. If you like to see things in calendar view, then you can view it all in a calendar. If you like it in timeline or Gantt view, then you can view it that way too.
Gantt.
Gantt, yeah.
What a word. What's a Gantt?
It's just like it's sort of like a horizontal bar graph that shows tasks in dates.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Gantt.
They're fairly similar, but and the last one that I found was the biggest selling point for me with ClickUp: ability to use your Gmail account direct up. So you don't even have to leave ClickUp in order to send it to someone in your project management space. If you've got a task that relates not in your organization or not a part of your ClickUp account, then you can just email directly from there. And then once they reply, all of that email thread is going to be kept in that task, in that particular task in ClickUp. Oh. That's another really handy.
Yeah, that sounds super handy. That sounds super handy. Okay, I mean, that I don't have the software yet, by the way, guys, because I've just got a whole bunch of other softwares and we're doing one at a time. And this is, I'm sold though. So this sounds freaking good. So, Sarah Carroll, really, really informative stuff. And I think for everyone out there who is resistant to doing the boring work that makes your life easier eventually, or thinking it's going to be boring, or think it's going to be complicated, or thinking they don't want to have another software and another, hat to wear in their business, I think you've absolutely made it clear that just organizing your shit, organizing your tasks on a little software on the screen is going to make your life ultimately easier and your business a lot more scalable in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to run a training in our free group very soon with Sarah when we can tie her down because she's a busy lady, very sought after. And SmartUp Studios, it's the way to go. I'm very, very excited to see you smash this business out of the park.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having.
No, thank you for being here. It's been great. I found that 37 minutes is the optimum length for a podcast at the moment for the ones that we're doing. And so that's where we're at, 37. Amazing. So thank you so much, Sarah. And we'll see you in the group soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you. And for anyone watching live or listening on the recording, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure having Sarah Carroll on the podcast today. I'll be back again next week with another episode of Coaches to the Moon. Until then, thanks for listening. Much love and peace out.